Hey, family. Did y'all like that reel that I put on my page where I was like, hey, family, hey, family, hey? I didn't realize I was saying the same thing. But hey, y'all, I'm so excited to be back. Y'all know we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, if you will, because I've been taking care of business. However, I'm back. And this is part 2 of season 2 of the Whole You podcast. And I have missed hanging out with you guys on Mondays. I hope that you've missed hanging out with me as well. But we are back. And so I want you to be prepared that every Monday we're going to be talking about all things mental and emotional health, and especially how culture intersects with mental health. Okay. And so I hope that you guys have been good. It's springtime and it feels like spring. I don't know about you, but the weather is beautiful. You know, I'm in the DC area. And so while we're recording this, it's like around 75 degrees outside. It is beautiful out, but it is that in between weather where sometimes it's 75 and then at night it's 35, 40 degrees. And so this is also a keep your head on a swivel because you might get sick weather. But nevertheless, I don't know about you, but I'm excited about the new season. I'm excited about heading into summer because I just like the warmth of this type of weather. So yeah. That's my little spiel. Let me know in the comment section what's been going on in your world. Have things been going good? Have you had any challenges? You know that we do that sometimes as well, because I want to connect with all of you guys that tune into this podcast. And so y'all already know what the feels is. It's our time for Culture Code, right? And so let me tell you what, first of all, my team got me this American flag. I'm not going to sing the song again. I'm glad to be an American. I don't care what's going on. I will say it as many times as possible. I'm not turning my back on the United States of America. And why? Because other countries' hotel rooms and bathrooms are too small. And their food is not seasoned. And so I'm going to stick beside this red, white, and blue. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna make sure that I know where my passport is at all times when I'm traveling internationally, because what you're not gonna do is keep me out my country. But the reason why we have this flag is because I want to talk in this culture code about what's been popping off on streaming TV. I don't know about y'all, but I love watching television. I do it all the time. And I love watching series, especially series that have like multiple seasons. If I find a good show that has like 5 seasons and 12 episodes in each season, am I the only person that just feels like I struck gold and I just start getting myself together in the bed and I'm just like projecting this is going to carry me for about the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I just feel any kind of stress that I might have just leave me because I can escape into another world. So I love television, whether it's Netflix, Hulu, Paramount, Prime. Y'all don't know nothing about Peacock. And so I love all things streaming TV. But can we talk, family? I know you didn't think we weren't going to talk about it, about what has really become the most popular streaming television show of 2025. Do y'all know what the show is called? It starts with a P. It's called Paradise. We're going to put it on the screen. First, let me start by saying this. If perhaps there's anybody watching right now who has not seen Paradise, what I need you to do is I need you to log out right now. Just don't even worry about this podcast. I need you to close this out and I need you to go. What network is Paradise on? On Hulu. I need you to go over to Hulu right now and I need you to start watching that show. And you know what? Don't check back over here until you're done watching the entire thing, because that is how good it is. But I'm assuming that all of you guys have seen it. First, we're going to talk about the lead of this show, Sterling K. Brown. What was his character's name? Xavier Collins. Y'all, let me tell you, first of all, we love Sterling from, what was the show called? This is, y'all, Sterling, because he had got adopted by that family. And we have loved Sterling since he was a child, trying to fit in as a little black boy with the little white twins and everything. And so he's already had our heart. But when I tell you he is a phenomenal actor, a passionate actor, and I also think that he's very wise in the roles that he chooses to play in. But y'all, when I first started watching that first episode, I didn't know. I didn't know that that wasn't a real world. I didn't know that was a make believe world. I didn't know that they were at the bottom of somewhere. I didn't know that it was so, y'all. I was just like, wow, we're about to go on a journey, and we went on one. We went on one when we found out that, I love this, that there was a psychologist that they hired to like figure out what was going to be best to make sure that everything was believable, down to the cheese fries in the diner. So good. And then from the very beginning, I was trying to figure out who killed the president. Spoiler alert. And everyone I thought it was, I was wrong. Let's also talk about when whatchamacall, I forget his name, the guy who was his friend. I don't know. The guy who ended up being killed by his girlfriend. Uncle Billy. Was that his name? I think so. I think Brandon's right. Y'all, listen to me. When I realized that his girlfriend was the assassin, I was shocked. Am I the only one that was shocked? Y'all, that show was so good. And there was no way in the world that we were going to know that some random dude who was connected to the original build out and some lady at the gas station. Like, I didn't like the end. I was just like, bro, we needed more information to try to be able to come up with it. But that was such a unique show, such a creative show, and a show that had to deal with nuances of like the president of the United States. So if you notice, family, there are so many popular streaming shows right now that have to deal with the government, that has to deal with the White House, that has to deal with the president of the United States. And I don't know if that's by happenstance. That might be calculated. We also have 0 Day. I don't know if you guys have seen 0 Day. That's a great show as well. There's also a movie out that's more recent called G20. I don't know if you guys have seen that. And so there's also a show on Netflix called The Residents. I just finished watching that, where there was a crime that happened in the resident area of the White House, and they sent somebody in that was a black woman to try to figure out what was going on. But y'all, this is my question. Do you guys think that the entertainment industry is trying to subconsciously acclimate America to black women being in like presidential or high governmental leadership? I think that something could be going on in them trying to attempt to normalize that. Because it's happening so frequently. And I don't think that things happen by happenstance in Hollywood. I think that things are actually happening for a reason. So y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I think that there's something popping off. Okay, so the reason why I want to know what you guys think about this whole concept is because I'm wondering whether or not they feel like using cinema and shows is a way to kind of shift our thinking when at times it's difficult for us to be open to change. And so we can look at like even what happened with Vice President Kamala Harris. And there's definitely dialogue to be had about whether or not our nation is ready to have a woman leading in the highest position that we know, because America does have such a global impact. It's not just about the leader of our country, but also, are we comfortable with a woman being our leader on the global stage? But when I say that, family, one of the things that it's so important to actually be mindful of is how many women presidents there are in other nations. And that if you actually do the research, we're a little behind where that's concerned, because women are moving in high governmental political positions in a lot of other countries around the globe. And so I think that there are so many examples of how almost like Hollywood has gone first. And I don't know whether they're like collaborating with the government. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of things that we see happen in television and movies then comes to pass down the line. So I don't know if Hollywood is being prophetic or if they are working in collaboration with other entities of innovation. I can simply even think about the Jetsons. When I was a little girl, the concept of being able to talk to someone that you can see on a screen was not even conceivable, honestly, because we still had payphones that we were paying 25 cents for. But now we can FaceTime, right, one another with ease. And so something is afoot. But as a Black woman, I'm excited about it, right? I think that we need to get to the point in our world where we're looking for the best of who can get the job done, and that their gender, their ethnicity, and their age, to a certain extent, shouldn't necessarily be a detriment to whether or not they can fill the role. So we're still kind of chipping away at our isms, right? But I'm excited about what the future holds. And to close, y'all make sure y'all watch all these shows, okay? Like, they're really, really entertaining. The one that I did forget really quickly, y'all, The Diplomat. Y'all, if you haven't seen The Diplomat, I want you to log off this podcast episode, forget all about me, and I need you to go, what is Diplomat? Is Netflix? Y'all, Just it don't matter what I'm about to say after this. No Situation Room, that don't matter. A question asked Dr. K, don't none of that matter. Go watch The Diplomat. These little podcast episodes are going to be here. But what I'm trying to bring to your life is joy. That's what I'm trying to bring to you is joy. So make sure that you tune in, family, and allow recreation to come into your life. It's really helpful from a mental health and emotional health standpoint to have times and spaces where we can pause the nuances of what we deal in our own personal lives and kind of escape into concepts that are going on, even that have been created for our entertainment. There's nothing wrong with it. It can actually be a source of really great relief for you. And so let me know what you think and drop a line in the comments. Okay. Y'all already know what the deal is. The next thing, is it Ask Dr. K or The Situation Room? Y'all, we've been on a break, so I didn't even know the format. It's Ask Dr. K. And so we have a question. I have not heard this question until right now. And so we'll see how we're going to respond. Okay, so the question is, in your experience, what's one mindset shift that has helped clients break free from self-sabotage? I'm hoping that one day I get an easy question like Dr. Seuss, green eggs and ham. But in your experience, what's one mindset shift that has helped clients break free from self-sabotage? My immediate answer to that question would be eliminating fear. I think that people sabotage themselves actually as a way to get in front of what they fear might happen. And what happens is that if you're in a perpetual state of fear from past experiences and or distortions, and you are already in your mind assuming how something is going to go, then you will literally sabotage your experience in that situation, hoping that you would be preventing yourself from the inevitable. And what I want to offer is that the inevitable may not happen, because just because something happened previously, in a previous season, in a previous organization, with a previous person, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to repeat again, because this is a new season. This is a new organization, or this is a different person. The other thing that can aid in you having a new experience is if you come to it different. And so that is, again, a root issue of what's going on. Remember, anger can be an emotion that we call like a top level emotion. And that a lot of times we emote in anger out of disappointment, out of feeling offended, out of embarrassment is a big one. Danielle just said embarrassment, a big one. But we feel like it's a little too vulnerable to say I'm embarrassed, or a little way vulnerable to say that I feel disappointed. And then we don't sometimes want people to think that they have the power over us to make us feel like XYZ. So then we're not honest with ourselves about the root of what is going on. So we will work on not being angry when in actuality, that's not what needs to be worked on. Same thing where this is concerned. You want to find the why of the self-sabotage. Like, what is it that I am trying to prevent from happening? Because I'll give you one other quick example. When you look at the concept of people not telling the truth, you can stay on the surface and say being dishonest is not a good thing. It's not. But one of the things that needs to happen to help a person to cease from being dishonest is to dig around, what are they trying to prevent? What is it that they think will happen if I tell the truth? And I'm trying to prevent that. So I feel like it's a better risk for me to go ahead and be dishonest. So sometimes people can ask themselves a question, which takes a very large sense of emotional health in order to be able to do. But in sitting with someone, especially someone you care about and that you're in a relationship with, and you may have discovered that they have shared something with you or said something or reported something and what they said was not true. One of the things that you can ask them is this question. Question is only for the mature. Why did you feel like it wasn't safe to tell me the truth? Now, you're not saying that you're responsible for their dishonesty, but what you are doing is creating an opportunity for them to now feel safe enough to share the undercurrent of why they felt like lying was the better option. People do unhealthy things when they feel unsafe. Now, if people have emotional health challenges going on that they need to heal from, there's no amount of safety that trauma won't try to prove false. But nevertheless, as much as possible for you, if you are a healthy individual, especially with people that you love and care about, take the time to figure out the why of what they're doing and trying to self-sabotage is something that people do because they're trying to prevent what they believe is the inevitable based on past experience. Okay. And so for those that do find that they self-sabotage, which it is very difficult for people to come to the actual awareness that they're doing that. But if you see signs that you could be doing that, that you are a part of the common denominator of things going on, then you want to take the time to really ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And what am I thinking that will happen again that I'm trying to get on in front of, if you will? Because the experiences that you have in your future will be the experiences that you participate in. And we're not at the mercy of other people as much as we think that we are. So if you want to carve new experiences for yourself, healthy experiences for yourself, it is possible if you're willing to have the courage and the strength to be able to chart that type of a life. And so I'm definitely rooting for you and sending positive thoughts your way as you have the courage to sit in not just what other people do, but sit in what you've been doing and know that it's okay to shift and to grow. That's okay. You can't control other people's actions, but you most certainly can control your own. Okay. So I hope that that was helpful. So now the last segment is our situation room, and Danielle is going to read that for us.
All right, Dr. K, I've got a situation. I trained this woman at work. I covered for her, coached her, and genuinely rooted for her. Then she got promoted above me. And now that she's my manager, it's like I don't exist. She's cold, dismissive, and last week she presented my whole project like it was hers. No credit, no mention. Part of me still wants to protect her. The other part of me wants to blow it all up. How do I deal with betrayal for someone I helped build?
It's like, who are you riding on? Okay. That is very nuanced. It's a couple of things going on in that one situation. Ironically, a response to that, if I'm the person, they would have to walk in extreme wisdom. So you have a couple of things going on. One, I don't know the reason to be able to account for why their behavior has shifted. There are times where when people move from one role to another, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be from a hierarchy standpoint. Sometimes you'll see that even if someone has a transition vocationally on a horizontal level, like we used to work on this team and now they shifted to another team, you can sometimes feel like there might be a difference. I don't know why they're choosing to do that. One of the things I definitely would encourage you to do is to make sure that you're very clear that that's what's happening. Let me tell you why I say that. It's because sometimes people are acting different, and then other times we're expecting that they would act different because we would. And so I do want to caution you to make sure that you have enough like concrete examples that there's a difference in their behavior now that they were promoted into this role, that now you're kind of like reporting to them, because it's very difficult sometimes for people to navigate the fact that I was a peer with someone and now all of a sudden I'm taking directives from them. It's difficult for the person that's promoted. It's also difficult for the people that are experiencing that promotion, only because I did not meet you in this role. Like, and so the way that we've engaged with one another has not been on a supervisory level. So now things have really shifted, and I don't really know how to interact with you, truth be told. I don't know if I should be careful of what I'm saying now. I don't know if now you could be judging what I'm saying. Does that make sense? And so I think that what happens is that if you have a relationship with someone and they are promoted into a supervisory role, one of the things that I always say can help relationships is communication, being able to talk. And I think it's important to actually take the time to sit down and say to one another, what is our relationship going to look like now? Like, what are you expecting of me now? Do I need to shift the way that I'm talking to you now when I see you at work? When we're off of work, are we still going to interact? If we do you want to keep the job off of the table of discussion? Or do you feel like we can still talk about the job when we're off work? Like, if you want and value the relationship, we need to be honest about the fact that there has been a shift that has occurred, and we just need to figure out how we're going to maneuver that so that we can still keep the relationship. But I think that in life, when any transition happens, there needs to be communication at every transition point. And I really need to do something with that. I feel like in the future, there should never be a time when something is at a point of transition where that transition is not being talked about, if that makes sense. And I think that if we can do that more, I think it would help to alleviate assumptions, and it can help to alleviate like pending misunderstandings. If we would just communicate now that there's a shift, how are we going to kind of manage this shift? And so I will say that the second part of that is this situation about taking ownership for your work. So definitely need wisdom where that's concerned. One of the things that I will offer is that when someone is doing something non-integral around a person, I suggest that that person slow down and not move too fast. Because what happens is that when someone doesn't operate in integrity, that will be exposed oftentimes without the need of your participation. And that if they're being non-integral with something having to do with you, they're being non-integral in other spaces as well. And what you want to do is to protect the way that you move, to still function as a human being at the highest level that you can function on, and not go low, right? As our forever first lady says, in order to try to stand up for yourself or right or wrong. The reality is that I know that I did the project. God knows that I did the project. Y'all know I'm a God girl. God knows that I did the project. Now, moving forward, will I be a little more communicative about how projects are being shared? Where is the authorship of projects listed? Will I possibly pay more attention to that? Yes, I will. But at the end of the day, I'm not stooping to your level. I am not going to change who I am nor how I am perceived. And a lack of integrity always loses. Always, 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 always. Now, a lack of integrity sometimes can still lend itself to popularity. But at the end of the day, my father used to always say to me, Kalita, you do not want to be liked. You want to be respected. Because people like things and then don't like things as the wind blows. But you want to be the type of person where people respect who you are. And so if you have to do something non-integral to address non-integral, it's not worth it. And I want you to trust, watch this, that if you did the first project, you can do the second one. I'm getting excited. That if you were the author and you were the one that did the entire first one, you can do a second one, a third one, a fourth one. Do you understand what I'm saying? That at the end of the day, no one can strip you of what you're able to do. And if you just stay in position and don't lower yourself to deal with the low, eventually you're going to find that God is going to elevate you because he can trust you, not because God can trust you with blessings, but that God can trust you even with trials, if that makes sense. It matters to God, I believe, the way that you deal with difficult things, not just the way that you deal with joyous things. And so I stand by that. And yeah, that would be what I would offer to you. Don't go low to try to address that which is low. And be grateful that you know how to author a project. Because if it's in you, it's just in you. People have to steal because it's not in them. I feel that in my shanana. Our perspectives really matter, fam. It is so important when we look at emotional well-being to be able to do one thing well. And that one thing is the word reframe. The way that we view ourselves, the way that we view other people, and the way that we view our circumstances can make or break the quality of our lives. And so I want to encourage you to really guard and steward your perspectives, the lens in which you are viewing yourself, others, and the world. Because if you can get a handle on that, you will find that you will be able to have joy even in the midst of what someone else would call a scenario that is lacking joy, okay? You bring your joy with you. You don't want to be at the mercy of other people's integrity to determine whether or not you have joy, okay? All right. That was fun. I'm excited to be back. And so let me know what you think. Let me know, because you might have done something different. If somebody stole your work at your job, I don't know what you would have done, but leave me some information in the comments section so that I know this is a judgment-free zone. And so if it is that you would have sent an email like, I know you lying, you know I did all 4 sections of this let me know, because, we're growing, we're evolving, but I'm excited. I'm going to read every single comment. I don't want you to forget to subscribe and like and share. Y'all already know what the vibe is. And we're going to put the email address up on the screen now, so that if you have any questions you want to ask me or any situations that you want us to bring into the situation room, y'all know that that's what we're going to do. But every Monday we get together and we talk about emotional and mental health. That's what we do in this corner of the internet. And so I'm excited and honored every single time that you guys take time out of your schedule to hang out with me. So I will see you next Monday. And do not forget, if you haven't seen one of those shows that we highlighted, go, okay? Because you're missing out on joy. All right. I love you guys. See you next Monday.